intellect is not steady,
Oops.
if the intellect is not steady, then we have lot of suffering. So simple. Where is your house? The intellect has 100% clarity. Who is your honey, John? Intellect has 100% clarity. If there is no clarity, then there is a problem. Yeah. So we will understand how the unsteady intellect causes the problem in our daily life. That is the fundamental problem that causes fear and anxiety and grief and suffering. So first thing to understand what exactly we are searching. Who am I? My true nature. Why? Because it brings an end to the suffering. What is suffering? Maybe a stress, anxiety, fear, insecurities. That is one goal. And second goal is to seek permanent peace and happiness. If your mind is saying, oh, there is no permanent peace and happiness, that is the problem of unsteady intellect. Then why we are attending the sessions? Why we are seeking peace all the time? Have you ever questioned your mind? Okay, oh, when I talk to people, oh, what stress you have, who doesn't have a stress? They become philosophers. Who doesn't have a stress? Come on, I'm talking about you. So now two things. What we are searching is clear. Why we are searching is clear. But who is searching? There. Who is searching? No, I'm searching. So our masters ask, are you capable and ready to search permanent peace and happiness? Are you capable? Are you ready? A 5-year-old kid says, oh, marriage is a good thing, so let me marry. I'm not capable. Child is not capable. He has to pass through the age of adolescence, hormonal changes, and then he is capable or she is capable of. And the fourth question, from where we get this knowledge? This knowledge is in Eastern wisdom. It is not in science. Science will tell you what are the physiological changes in stress, what are the physiological changes in relaxation, biochemical changes, neurophysiological changes. It doesn't give you an answer who I am. That is our subject matter. Then, what the knowledge this Eastern wisdom gives? Eastern wisdom says our real self is full of permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. Have you seen, and we might have heard and seen 90-year-old, I hope no one is 90 years old here, is in the hospital and struggling for life. Why? Because I love existence. Is it not clear to us that we love existence, we love peace, we love happiness? That is why existence is our nature, peace is our nature, love is our nature. And that is our search. We don't like stress. Obviously, stress is not my nature. And that is a very specific, unique characteristic of every living being. Touch an ant, they run away. We love existence, we love to serve. So now the next question comes: am I a seeker? So we understood that am I capable and ready? A lot of people join this session and they say, okay, you talked very good, but this is not my cup of tea. Then continue running, living in stress. So in a way, you can say it is a serious, not serious with the face, but it is a serious understanding that I want to discover permanent peace and happiness. How can I reach your home? You give me your address, I put into the map, and I reach your house. Knowledge. First, knowledge means your address. Second is the intellect is steady on that knowledge. Two things. When the intellect is steady on the knowledge, we will reach there. So that is what is the meaning of steady intellect. Steady. So first is knowledge. So it means knowledge of the real self, which is pure consciousness. That is of the nature of permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. And second is my intellect continues to stay on that knowledge. Take an example. Does it stay? If I have a real self, you also have a real self. And your friend comes you don't like, what happens to your intellect? You already know it. I need not to say it. It means the intellect is not steady. Only the seeker who has a steady intellect, one, and whose knowledge is steady in the intellect, will definitely reach to the goal. I already given an example. The address of your house is the knowledge, and the intellect keeps its steadiness, focus, awareness, and attention on the exact address. So now just do the reverse, because my intellect is not steady. So that's why I do not succeed in one session. Am I clear? I got married when you are my honey, but after that, the intellect does not keep its steadiness on that honey. So I find another honey. See that? Our mind and intellect continues to wander. The mind gives me the behavior and attitude. The intellect gives me the knowledge. We don't bridge the gap between the knowledge and behavior. And then we blame and complain. Oh, I have a lot of stress. Even Buddha got married. He had a son. In the midnight, he saw both honey and the sun, and he said, bye bye. I am going in search of the truth. What he did, he wanted to drop that attachment. That is why he left. And it took him 7 years. So when in 7 years he became a seeker, then the last master name was Alar Kalam. So Alar Kalam took him. He said, you sit under a tree, close your eyes, and you Is your knowledge clear? Can you fix your knowledge in the intellect? Yes. Then what is required? That is how we see the Buddha got an enlightenment. Then Buddha said, there is nothing. Mindfulness or meditation is just an effortless natural process. So we take the last statement. We don't see how much effort he has put for 7 years. Just one example. But there are people whose mind and the intellect become steady just by learning in one lesson. Swami Vivekananda, at the age of 16, who visited United States, maybe 15 or 16. And there is another master, Sri Aurobindo, who went to the master. Master said, he gave 3 instructions. Do you still remember? I narrated this story. It's a real life story, around 1911 or 12. The master said, close your eyes, sit comfortably. First instruction. Second, observe all the thoughts are coming from outside. Third instruction, before these thought comes from outside, throw them outside. Do not allow it to enter within your mind. And Sri Aurobindo, that master, continued to stay in that state with these 3 instructions only for 3 days. Only for 3 days he did not move. He had already reached there. He is one of the great masters, lived until 1950. So it means what? What is the message that I have to understand why the intellect is not steady in me. That is why I am not able to reach to that state, and why the intellect of these guys are steady. So now we come to our day-to-day life and experiences in our life. Question comes, why the intellect is not steady? Even, are you listening really 100% to me? You know it better. I'm not saying anything. So there is a confusion in the intellect, and the mind is muddy. What is that confusion? You see the way the Eastern wisdom works. Question, answer. You answer everything, so you have a clarity. Do you still remember what is clarity? Clarity? No, you don't remember. That is neighbor's house and this is my house. This is what is known as understanding and clarity. So what I did in clarity, I classified neighbor's house, not mine. My house is here. Clarity. Mead is Mead and Charlie is Charlie. Clarity. But if I make the mind muddy and I don't remember the name, then I address Charlie as Mead. Confused. Do you understand that? So clarity means I classified and I understand where I am, where I should not be. Neighbor's house, I should not be there. Very clear. Right? That is another way to understand. So we are understanding the intellect is not steady because there is a lot of confusion in the intellect, and the mind is muddy because of its instinctive, impulsive behavior. So, this confusion is also known as delusion, absence of clarity in the intellect. Confusion also means what is right and good is not clear. Now, the next question comes, why there is no clarity? I'm a fairly intelligent guy. Do you think that you are more intelligent than Bill Gates? $127 billion loveless life. Is he really clear? Is there a clarity? So it has nothing to do with the IQ, it has to do with what is, not what should be. What is always is. So from where this word what should be comes into my mind? Can you guess? So intellect is confused because of what should be. And this what should be comes because what I like, I feel is right. What I dislike, I feel is wrong. So that confusion is because of likes and dislikes. And that likes and dislikes causes the attachment and detachment. That attachment and detachment causes the desire. And the desire is seeking happiness outside in the world of people, things, objects, events. I'm already in delusion because I'm searching peace and happiness outside. But it is within me. This is the entire steps the intellect undergoes, our intellect undergoes, and it becomes confused, deluded, lives with the wrong notion. Are you clear? John, nothing to be serious, understanding with a smile. So that understanding is not there. When this understanding is not there, now see, let me give you an example. Today, this crazy intellect sees Sophie and says, Sophie is very good. So after a few days, again I interact with her. Now my intellect, crazy intellect, don't like. So in first instant, my knowledge is Sophie is very good. In the second instant, after a few days, Sophie is not good. Which knowledge I should trust? Do you see the confusion? We take it for granted. What we take it for granted? I am saying Sophie is good. I am saying Sophie is bad. Who the hell this I is? Why you are changing? Do you see that? This happens in our intellect with people, with things, with objects, with events, with a particular gadget, and the intellect is totally confused. We don't see it as a confusion. We see I'm intelligent. You see, I have assessed Sophie rightly. Knowledge is knowledge. Do you have an alternative knowledge? I'm not going into politics for the last 5 years. You know, we had another word, alternative facts. Knowledge is knowledge. You cannot change the knowledge. You see, this is what makes the intellect confused, and it is not steady, unsteady intellect always lives in confusion because of likes and dislikes, further attachment and detachment that causes desire. Desire projects happiness outside, and that is what the delusion is. So the intellect is living in delusion. Any intellect that is living in delusion cannot discover real self because it influences the mind, it influences my behavior. In the first instant, intellect said Sophie is good. So what my mind will behave, what it will be the behavior and attitude of the mind. I want the nearness of this, Sophie. Sorry, John. I'm giving only an example. Okay, he agrees. No problem. So, and now in the second instant, she is bad. So, how my mind behaves, I want to keep a distance. Do you see that? It is our daily experience. But who is responsible? The intellect. Why? It is unsteady. It is not clear. Now you understand there is no clarity in the intellect. This text was written almost how much? Maybe 4,500 years ago. It's a dialogue between a seeker and the master. So, as long as this intellect is unsteady, mind will remain confused. It will have a different behavior and attitude at different moments in my life. And that results into delusion, confusion, fear, insecurities, stress, suffering. Normally, I used to ask people, especially when couple used to come to me for counseling, I said, who is more intelligent out of the two? John, we can understand we two are males here. By default, the male says that, I'm more intelligent than her. I said, wonderful. Then, if you are more intelligent than your wife, where is your intelligence is staying? What your intelligence is looking? She is crazy. What about you? Did you understand? When you say that I'm more intelligent, then why my focus is on others? My focus should be on myself. Did you get it? We are more intelligent because we can prove that how wrong you are. Did you? So your intellect is full of all those thoughts. And that thoughts will influence your behavior and attitude. Then you are more wrong than the other person, at least who is calm and relaxed. Do you see that? And when I see that truth, what happens to the intellect? Intellect says, drop all these craziness. That is why my mind is unsteady. Unsteady. So when we have that right understanding in the intellect, means there is a clarity. So that clarity is known as discernment. That I separated what is not required, what is not real. What is not real? Two types of knowledge. At one instant, Sophie is good. At other instant, Sophie is bad. So These are alternative facts. Let me drop it. I separate myself. Look, is a human being like me. Uh, there are always plus and minuses in life. So why my intellect should engage in these likes and dislikes? When you drop that dislikes and dislikes, then what is left in the intellect? It is steady. When it is steady, then that delusion never enters into your mind. It never changes your behavior and attitude. That mind is now influenced by the right knowledge in the intellect. What is the right knowledge? Real self. I love peace because peace is my nature. I love happiness because happiness is my nature. Can you ignore it? Can you afford to ignore it? So now we have a clarity that what is a glimpse of what is real self. So what uh, yeah, let us keep one or two more things clear. So here comes our master says that this real self is independent. It does not depend on anything. Second characteristic of real self is it is self-existent. Third characteristic, it is self-evident. Another characteristic you can say, it is self-luminous. And what is false self? False self is always changing. I already given an example of Sophie. So whatever is changing is not me. It is not the right quality of the intellect. It appears true, but it is not true. I can prove by argument that how Sophie is good and how Sophie is bad. I have proved it. So what did I get? Nothing. I get nothing. Why should I use this deluded intellect? Do you see that? When you see it clearly in your intellect, contemplate on these simple principles, and you will see that your mind is not running anywhere now because it is influenced by the right knowledge. So, what is false self in us? Which is always changing, which appears true but not true. It is subjected to change. It has a birth and it has a death. When I said Sophie is good, something is born. Now, in the second instant, I say she is bad. So the previous one died. Birth, death. This is what happens to our intellect when we clear this intellect from the false self. Now, why we say it is a delusion? Let us understand that part. Tell me. Tell me a simple question. What is the simple question? Are waves in the water or water in the waves? Which one is true? Is the ocean in water or water is in ocean? Think of it. Think. So how to think? We have already given a definition of the real self. It is independent. It is self-evident. It is self-existent. It is self-luminous. What is the definition of the false self? It is constantly changing. Tell me, the water in your house or my house? Independent. Or water in Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean or Indian Ocean is the same. Independent. What is same is independent. What changes is false self. Did you get it? Water in the waves or waves in the water. Think of it. So that triggers the intellect. Earring, necklace, bangles, nose pin of gold is in reality gold. What is changing is the shape, size, and the means. Gold never goes away. The water never goes away, whether you have waves, storm, tsunami, and real self never goes away. You are man, you are women, you are married, you are single, you are divorced. Did you understand that? So we are searching that real self. If there is no gold, there is no earring, there is no necklace, there is no nose pin. If there is no real self, if there is no consciousness, no body, no mind, no ego, do you see that clearly? That is why we say a person died. We go for the service, we say that person has left. Where he has left, his body is there. Body is subjected to change. So what is subjected to change is not me. Finished. My intellect, are you changing? Stop this. Are you getting it? John. Simple logic. We are not talking of belief, cult, dogma, religion. We are talking of that we should be very clear. Waves continuously changes. Waves appear and disappear. I gave previous examples, the blueness of the sky. Sky is not blue. It appears blue, but it is not. So when we start living that life, now take the same example. Sophie appears good. Sophie appears bad. So what will happen? My intellect goes beyond this good and bad because of likes and dislikes. I see her as a human being. So why my perception changes? Last point. In every meditation, my perception has to change. If my perception does not change, my behavior and attitude will not change. Do you still remember? Mind, impulsive, instinctive, habitual. Intellect, wrong knowledge. They come together, they create a mess in my life. That is what we say. I am responsible for my stress. I am responsible for my suffering. Until you come to that conclusion in your intellect, no meditation will succeed. I am responsible for my stress, suffering, and I am responsible for my peace and happiness. And You allow the intellect to argue and prove this statement. Now I see the goodness in Charlie. So it means what? It is what the intellect is saying. I see the badness in Charlie. This is my the intellect is saying. Am I responsible or not? So when we have a clear understanding, clarity is there. How dare the mind can wander in different thoughts? Your intellect is steady, the mind is pure. You will succeed in meditation. Am I clear? Sometimes mind says me, you may be clear, but I don't agree with you. So ask your intellect why you don't agree. Sometimes our mind says that. So no worries. Let the mind say. Put it on the test. So when you put it on the examination, we are not saying you believe. You should have a blind belief, but understanding is required. When that understanding is there, your life changes. We had a lot of gossip, so let us now start practice. Angela might be feeling